It's 7:02, and I'd like to welcome everyone to the Littleton Library Trustees meeting. This meeting is being held virtually through Zoom. The town of Littleton began conducting remote participation Zoom meetings pursuant to Governor Baker's emergency order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law on March 19, 2020. Since that time, unanticipated legal concerns related to open meeting law have been brought to our attention by the town clerk. Those current concerns were supported by the Attorney General's office and confirmed by town council. One concern is that the chat function allows parallel text conversation to a board's public meeting. Chat is essentially running commentary that is occurring, but it's not moderated or followed by the chair. All participants listen and may not be aware of comments being made because some participants joined by phone and do not see these conversations. Another concern is conversations between residents with the chat room, which are not incorporated in the public record. In response to those concerns, the town will implement the following changes, which in no way prohibit any member of the public from participating in discussion and sharing information during a public meeting, and will ensure that all listeners and participants have equal access to this meeting. People that join the Zoom meeting are set so that their microphones are muted. If you call in by phone, please use *6 to mute or unmute your phone. So that the meeting can occur in an orderly fashion, we ask that people who join keep their microphones on mute so background noises do not interfere with the meeting. If you wish to participate in the meeting, please use the raise your hand function available on Zoom, or if you're called in by phone, dial *9, which will activate the raise your hand function. The meeting host will notify the chairperson of the raised hands, and the chairperson will determine whether and when to allow public comment. When called upon, participants shall unmute, state their name and address. After speaking, we request that participants return their microphone back to mute. Okay, so now covering that, we can move on to the agenda. Starting with public participation. And I don't see anybody. So we'll move on to correspondence.
No correspondence.
Minutes. Does anyone have comments on the minutes from?
I didn't see anything standing out.
It looked okay to me.
So barring that, I'll make a motion that we accept the meeting minutes of June 4th, 2020 as written.
I will second that.
I think we have to do a roll call, so go around
David Silva votes yes.
Chris Aslan votes yes.
Mira Gill votes yes.
You get a vote too, Katrina, this time.
I was wondering if I could. Katrina Wilcox-Hagberg votes yes.
And I'll vote yes, so that knocks that one off. Treasurer's report.
Oh, yes. Okay, treasurer's report. I just dropped it on the floor.
Are you okay, Dave?
Yeah. As of today, okay, the MMDT balance is $5,501.54. As of today, the building fund is $581,006.54. And the Bartholomew has not come in yet.
Can you repeat the building fund?
Building fund, $581,006.54.
Yep. Okay, great. And the MMDT was 5,501.54.
Correct.
5,881.06. 581,006, Dave?
Yes, 0.54.
Okay.
And that's as of today?
Yes, that's how I was taught to read that in school.
Yep.
581,000. You don't say $581,006. It's just $6. So.
Just trying to get an accurate. I'm just trying to get an accurate number for the.
That's okay.
For the accurate minutes.
I gotcha. Okay, that's it. That's the treasurer's report up to today.
Okay. Friends report. Was there a Friends meeting last month? I forget.
Yes, there was. So sorry. There was a friends meeting. There was discussion about mini golf. So they were making preparations for virtual mini golf. And I can't find my paper right at the moment, but I believe it was around the second week in August was the date they chose for that. And they are working, Sarah was working on setting up the online auction. She had talked to other people who had done something similar, and so she was going to investigate that. They were getting different virtual ideas up and running, and I believe donors had been contacted to see if they were still on board. So much of the talk was about the mini golf. And since I can't find my paper, did I miss anything else that happened?
No, we've been working since then. So there you have some sponsors who have come back and committed. We have about $4,000 of sponsorships that returned so far, and we have some more that we're still trying to contact. And then we are looking into the online auction piece. We have a meeting on Monday to go through details, and the dates are August 15th to 22nd, I believe.
Let me get this down, and I want to say something about the masks, because I've been working with the friends on doing some face masks for next week. So you said about 4,000 in sponsorships, Katrina?
$4,250 of sponsorships.
Ooh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so about
I know-
half of what we had.
I know from my inside track that I think Silver Unicorn is considering participating. I don't know if they've contacted you yet, but
I haven't heard from them yet, but
okay. I know
so.
he's been talking to Katie. He's been talking to Katie about doing something. And the dates were August 22nd?
August 15th to 22nd.
15th through 22nd. Okay. So I want to let people know that I think I emailed everybody here about the idea of doing face masks for the grand groundbreaking. And so I just wrote 2016 on something. That's not right. I wish it was August 2016. So I've been working with Katrina and Kathy and Sarah to try to have face masks for next week. And I've been working with Revolution Creek printers in Littleton. So they're a local printer. And the masks are going, actually I can show you guys. Can I share the screen? Does that work?
Sure.
Want me to try? Oh, I can't. I think someone has to enable it for me. Can you enable it for me? I'll show you what the mock-up.
Let me see if that works.
Oh, yeah, hold on. Okay, so hold on. To minimize my
No,
Can you see that?
pinch out for a bigger view, it says.
Can you see the
It's blank.
Yeah, it's blank.
it's blank.
Got a little arrow on it, but other than that, it's blank.
That's weird.
All right, because oh, that's so weird. All right, I'm going to stop it and I'm going to try again. Because I have it right there. Share screen. There we go.
There they are.
All right. So obviously that's just a mock-up. So the mask itself is going to be navy blue, and the print will be inked in light blue. So you won't see that black. There won't be like that black square around it. It'll just be light blue ink on the mask itself.
Okay.
So
It's like a navy blue.
yeah.
Okay.
And that's not the exact. That's actually just a picture of a mask that Sarah found just to show us what the imprint would look like. That's not the actual mask
Okay.
that they're working with. So, but that's just to give you an idea. It's going to be on the one side because there's a seam down the middle, so we can't print across the front. So it's only going to be on the one side.
Okay.
So that's a little bit of just an example of what it's going to look like. So they will be sold. The friends are going to sell them at a slight markup. It's not going to be a huge money maker, but there will be a slight markup. They're going to sell them for 10, and I think they're costing us something in the $7.50 range. So there'll be a couple of dollars for a little bit of a profit. So I figure we could sell them. Those of us who are going to be there, obviously. Well, I'm going to buy one. You guys are not obligated to buy them, but if you would like to. And then we'll have them at the library. Either the friends can sell them or we can have them be sold as t-shirts are sold at the library. So we can kind of figure that out, that detail out later. But I'm kind of excited.
There's enough time to get them for next week?
He said we'll have them before the 9th. Yep, that was one of my things was, we'll be wearing masks for a while. So I figured it would still be something that people might want just because, but I said it would be an added benefit, obviously, if we could have them before the 9th, and he said we could.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, great.
Yeah. So now I'll be quiet and get back to my minutes taking.
Okay. So I think we covered the friends and a lot of the fundraising. Is there anything else on fundraising, Katrina? that we
The
missed?
Reader for Life Read-A-Thon got kicked off again. My daughter and her friends organized the Read-A-Thon last year that raised over $6,000, and they figure they have a lot of time on their hands this summer. And so if anyone wants to sign up to read and then ask family, friends for pledges, it's all through the computer. You can sign up on the computer. You don't have to talk to the librarians. And it's going from July 1st to the 31st, just like we did last year. So 4 weeks. It was pretty straightforward. We already have like $330 raised. So one of those is an offline pledge, but it's there's only like 5 people signed up so far. So we need some more pledges if anyone knows anyone who has some time to read. So I think that's it.
That's on the library website?
It's not on the library website yet, actually. So maybe I can work with Sam to help advertise that through. I'm kind of letting the girls take the reins this year, trying to give them more responsibility. So yes, if we can coordinate with the friends for their email list, and maybe Sam, if you could share, that would be helpful to spread the word. So it'd be great.
Sure.
You should also send it to Susan, and she can retweet it. So she's got a pretty large following.
Yeah, so I don't have Facebook or tweets or anything like that. So if I wanted to do it, how would I do it?
I will send you the link, but yeah, you don't have Facebook. Right now it's driven through Facebook and their personal email to their friends asking them to. They've actually emailed everyone who did it last year to ask them if they want to come back. But I can send you guys the link so you can share it off, and then I'll send it to Sam and the friends and to Susan so she can share with her crew too.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay. Is there anything else on fundraising?
I don't think so.
Okay. Building project updates. So I don't know who's been by the library in the past couple weeks, but it looks really different back there now. They have taken out I believe they have one more tree they're going to take out, and the rest have been removed that are going to be removed for the project. There are excavators back there now moving dirt around. It looks like they're just moving from one pile to another at the moment, but I'm not really sure. I believe the knotweed's coming out next week, and then around the 10th, they're starting full-scale excavation for the footings and things. They're still waiting on final permitting, pending the fire department reviews. I think the fire department's the only review left for the final permit, but things are looking good so far. So they have the construction fencing up now as opposed to caution tape that was up last week. They've had to make some modifications to their original plans, but to satisfy Park and Rec and things like that, so that you can get into both entrances to the tennis court now. Still, so they had to do that for the construction fencing and making sure they weren't blocking the ball field and all that stuff. So things are moving along pretty well. So are there any questions on the building project as it stands now? We're trying to.
There've been
Go
no
ahead.
meetings. There've been no meetings, have there?
So there's a meeting every Monday at 10 a.m. to talk about the building project, but it's not so much. Sam and I have been going, but it's not really meant for us as much as a coordination between the builder, the architect, and the OPM, right? To make sure that they're moving along. We're there basically to answer questions if they come up for anything, but really, I think we're just listening and trying to absorb the new acronyms thrown at us. Right.
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
Well, that's right in the middle of my workday, so I guess I can't do that one.
So yeah, every Monday at 10 they're meeting. So, and Commodore has someone on site more or less full time now, to making running the job site. So, did I miss anything, Sam?
Yeah, today they changed the road behind the library, behind the back entrance, to make it two-way, which actually caused a bit of an issue because the town wasn't informed. Apparently there was it wasn't the OPM that did it, it was someone in the town that directed Commodore to do it and didn't tell anyone else he was doing it. So it's there now, it's painted, it's too late. Signs are going to go up next week to show that it's a two-way street now, and we're not sure how long it's going to remain that way. The other side by the tennis court won't be closed within the next 3 weeks, but probably sometime in the fall. Also, I've begun submitting my monthly reports to MBLC. I have to submit a report every month, but they told us not to do it during COVID, but we were supposed to start this month, so I did that. And I think that's all.
And we have the second check from MBLC, I believe.
Yes, that was deposited.
So,
yes.
I think when they're closing the other entrance, it's only a temporary closure. It's not a long-term closure. It's going to be closed for a few days or a few weeks as they're moving, as they have to bring in power and utilities, basically. I think that's the plan. But
Yes.
okay. Trustee updates. Who wants to start?
I'm easy. I don't have anything. I've just been working. It's hot and nasty outside. I'm working on my house like crazy, but that's all I got to say. Next.
I don't have a whole lot to say either. School's over, so I guess that's one less thing to have to worry about. But other than that, life is pretty quiet and pretty much the same as it has been.
I have some library related stuff. The feedback I've gotten from friends with kids my kids' age about the reader advisory work that the librarians have been doing, the form and then the books that actually come out, has been fabulous. Really excited about the selections that everyone's getting, and the kids are enjoying them. So thank you for putting that together, and I'm glad it's working for curbside pickup.
Do you want to talk about our walkthroughs?
Right. Yes. So, I got sworn in, and then I immediately walked over to hang out with Sam and did a walkthrough of the library, putting on my public health hat to talk about how to reopen to the public and phasing that in. And I think we're going to talk about it in detail on new business, but I have to say you've done a really thoughtful job, and I love that you're coordinating with the other area libraries. So just kudos, keep doing that. We'll talk about the details in new business.
Do you have anything, Chris?
Oh, probably me. Sorry. Nothing that's really new. I've been writing a little bit more than usual, so I'm hoping I might have some books come out at some point that might be in the library someday. Which has been a long time since I've actually focused on writing. But day job, grant writing, being in my house, all those fun things. That's about it.
So,
Oh, I also enjoyed my uncontested, but partnering with Katrina on our most recent electoral win. So that was fun. You're stuck with me for another 3 years. So.
congratulations to both of you.
Yes,
You're
congratulations.
just stuck with me now.
My family, we broke into the library on Sunday and moved all of the books that were waiting to be sorted out into the trailer so that Sam and the librarians would have room for storage if they needed it, for moving stuff around to allow patrons in. I did the walkthrough with Katrina, and I've been trying to keep up with the building project and organizing the groundbreaking and normal work stuff, so I've been outrageously busy. So that's about it. So you got anything, Helen? Or you want to go under director's report?
Helen's muted.
Helen, you're muted.
Helen.
You're muted, Helen.
Sorry, I had to go grab the mouse to unmute myself. I don't really have much to offer. Things are going along. We're kind of finding a new normal, and don't you think it's kind of starting to be like an old new normal? So that's pretty good so far. And we did a little craft project, but Sam will tell you about that. And so far, so good. I mean, no one's gotten COVID. We all seem to be able to come in and out, do our work. So I guess that's what we hope for.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. You're up with the director's report, Sam.
Okay, so the new Readers Advisory Forum is working out really well. We have had over 50 requests so far in the last couple of weeks. Diane asked me to make a separate one for the children that was only 5 questions long, so we did that, and that's going really well. Curbside pickup is also going well. We checked out almost 4,000 items this month, which is a lot less than we did this month last year, but still, that's pretty good. Department heads and I are going to have monthly meetings. We had the first one today. It went pretty well.
I'm sorry, it says bi-weekly.
Yeah, we changed it to monthly.
Okay.
We decided once a month is good enough. Bin delivery has been resumed, and most libraries are not yet engaged in reciprocal borrowing yet. So it's really just Littleton items at the moment. And the town still has a spending freeze for fiscal year 21, but we contacted them and they said that because we do have to spend money on materials to reach the MAR, that we're exempt. So we can still purchase materials. It's just anything else we can't really spend money on for the town funds. Programming summer reading has almost 300 signups online. And Helen created an art kit based on patrons using the new Creative Bug database that we purchased. I think as soon as Helen posted it online, like 2 minutes later, we started getting phone calls. And today we had 3 phone calls in a row about it. Helen, is there anything else you want to say about it? Sorry. You're muted again.
Okay, now I don't really have much to say about it except that I didn't realize that we live in an instantaneous society. I literally put it up on the website. Did not have a chance to send the email to the staff, and the doorbell rang. And that's when all hell broke loose. So yeah, we live in an instant society now. People really look at our website all the time, you know? So that's it. Back to you.
That's
I
it.
guess it's Facebook.
Hey, Sam, can you go back and say what that is again? What that project is?
Sure. So it's an art kit that Helen created based on the Creative Bug database. She took one of the videos from there and created a little kit that people can come and pick up. And then they go and watch the Creative Bug video on the database, and then they do it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yep. So it's for free. You can come to the library and pick it up. think there are about 50 of them that you made, you and Ansco? Yeah, about 50 of them so far. And she plans to do it again.
I have a funny feeling we're gonna run out quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe we can get some, do another 50 of this one and then move on.
Notary numbers, Andy has 10 somehow. I don't know how she did that. I think they cheat. I have 2, and Jean has 1. As I said before, we have a lot of people coming to the curb for curbside pickup. And children's story time is going well. Diane is doing them and posting them on Facebook. Summer reading is underway. Imagine Your Story is the theme this year. Third Wednesday's book club is going well. Fantastical Book Club and the Classics Book Club are also all going well, and they're on Zoom or Facebook Live. That's about it. The rest is just stats, as you guys have in front of you, hopefully. Any questions?
I had some random comments. One is I think the littletonlibrary.org thing still doesn't work. I tried that today. If you go to Littleton Mass /Rubenhor Library, it works, but Littleton Library was still throwing errors with cert errors. I wonder if we should have a tab or something on the website that we can keep track of some of these COVID-related things, like what the curbside policies are and these readers advisory things that are the forms that we have, because the news section only has a certain number of items and they're going to keep scrolling off and be hard to find. So if we could figure out a way to keep them, they don't necessarily have to be on the homepage, but if we can keep them rooted somewhere so that they're not, that they're easier to find, I think that would be a good idea to do. So.
Great. I can work on that.
And the hours are still wrong on the site too.
I know. I asked Nancy to change it, and she can't do it. The website company has to do it, and she's asked them 3 times. I don't know why it's so hard, but someone's trying to do it, but it's not happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm working on it, and then we might change hours anyway. So
yeah. Okay. Anyone else have any comments on the director's report?
Any word on when reciprocal borrowing is going to start up again?
So we're waiting to see what's going on with Optima. Optima is the company that handles bin delivery, and right now they're obviously overwhelmed. They have tons of bins that they haven't gotten out yet. Also, we're actually one of the first libraries to even open for curbside. A lot of libraries aren't even opening up for curbside until next week. Groton is opening for computer appointments only on Monday, but they're one of the few libraries. They've been the first to edit everything lately. They were at curbside weeks before us, yeah, a lot of libraries haven't even opened for curbside yet. They just have staff in the building, so yeah, it's going to be a while before we can do that. But it is something that I'm bringing up at MVLC. We have executive next week, so I'll be bringing that. I'm the president now, by the way, so I'll be bringing that up on Tuesday at our executive meeting.
Congratulations in order there, Mr. President. That's pretty cool.
No, not really.
Not really. Okay. All right.
It just means you stepped back last?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
They asked for volunteers and everybody looked at me, so yeah.
Okay.
So we should, Sam, if you could keep the updates coming out every couple weeks and say, curbside or like interlibrary loans coming back, we're waiting on this, we don't know when it'll arrive, but and just keep the updates coming on what the status of these things are. I think the updates you've been sending are really good. We just need to make sure that we send them out, at least every 2 weeks or so, just to let people know we're still there. So, okay. Anything else under director's report? Okay. There's nothing under old business. So board reorganization.
I nominate Mark for chairman.
So we need a chair, we need a
Second.
treasurer,
I would second that,
and we
Dave.
need a secretary. Well, I thank you so much.
You didn't step back fast enough.
So I will do it one more year, but then I'm handing off the gavel to someone else.
Okay.
Okay.
And you can't tell who I'm looking at.
I don't mind staying as secretary if unless somebody wants to fight me for it, which I would then give it up, but I'm fine with taking minutes.
I don't mind
Okay.
doing treasurer, but I gotta get nominated, so. Anybody else want
Oh
to do
yeah, I
it?
forget about that.
Nope.
No.
Move that
Um,
David gets to stay as treasurer.
Second.
Second.
All right, so
and
we
then,
need to do this one at a time. How do we do this?
No,
What
we
do-
can vote it as a slate. We can vote to just keep the current slate of officers if you would like.
I think I heard,
And then I don't think they're really, the same elected or board level positions, but we also have the fundraising committee representative and the Friends representative. So that basically means you're the one that's attending those meetings and reporting back to the board and representing, our agenda at those meetings. You don't get to vote at the Friends meetings, but you get to tell them what we've discussed at our meetings, that type of thing.
I'm happy to keep doing that unless anybody wants to fight me on that one.
I can keep doing fundraising.
Okay. So was there a motion to keep the slate? And
Does that impact Demetra? Demetra's not here, so how does she? What is her current? She's just a member at large. Does she have a committee role?
I don't think she has one, but she doesn't have to have one, or she
Right.
can
I
be
just want to
like
make sure that we're.
yeah, I just looked
we
at the
had vice
minutes.
chair at one point, but then we decided we didn't need one.
Yeah.
So
We have only 3 officers. I just looked at the last minutes. Everybody else is just a member.
so was there a motion for the slate?
I gave one.
I make a motion to keep the officer slate as it is.
I second.
Okay, all in favor? Go around.
David Silva votes yes.
Mary
Sessom
Gill.
votes yes.
Mary Gill votes yes.
Katrina Wilcox Hagberg votes yes.
I really want to abstain, but I'll vote yes. I am not doing it next year.
Hey, Mark. Remember that
Okay.
next year.
My memory doesn't go that long. Mark,
Who
you're
I will
even
keep
knows?
reminding you.
Who even knows what next year is going to look like?
Okay, library reopening updates.
Okay, so based on the governor's guidelines and the MBLC and MLS, I'm going to recommend that on July 27th we open for computer access only. I think it should be by appointment for about 30 minutes. That's what most libraries in the consortium are doing. We're not really allowed to let anyone in for browsing yet, so we would just allow people in to use the computers. We'll spread out the computers. I have a plan with Tom from the town's IT department for how to do that. He said he can make it happen for us, so I think that should be easy enough. We do it on the main floor. We did discuss moving computers down to the Cooper room, but 2 issues are that there aren't really too many Ethernet ports down there, so everything would have to be on Wi-Fi. The second thing is there wouldn't really be any staff down there to monitor patrons, and the patrons that tend to use the computers are the patrons that have the most questions. So it would just be easier to have them on the main floor with us. So what would have to happen is that we would allow patrons in. We'd probably use Library Insight. It's the program we use to book rooms. We'd probably change it so that patrons could book computers with it. All the staff would have to wear masks. All the patrons would have to wear masks. We would enforce that. Everything would have to be cleaned and wiped down. So what we were thinking is we do it every hour. So a patron would come in for a half an hour, and then we have a half hour to sort of clean up after them and let everything settle, and then start again. according to Scott Wadzinski, the staff would have to keep a cleaning log, so we'd have to do that. We'd also have to have a form that a patron would have to sign when they come in, saying they don't have any symptoms of COVID, and they would have to sign it. It's also a way for us to keep track in case anything happens. So Park and Rec already created a form so that I don't have to reinvent the wheel. They said they would lend it to all the department heads. The town is also going to be reopening probably in the mid-July, late July, and they're also doing it by appointment only. So we'd be in the same boat as them, so it's be pretty even. What else? The town is also going to be provide training to the staff in all the departments online for how to deal with COVID and sanitizing and that sort of thing. The town has made a requirement that any materials that we purchase, PPE materials, have to be purchased through one single source, which is the police department, so that we don't all, because of price gouging, we're all getting different prices when we try to buy things on our own. So we're trying to buy it through one central source. They also have, they were able to find Clorox wipes, for instance. I looked all over the place. I couldn't find any, but they found some. So it's an easy way for us to get supplies when needed. Let's see. As Mark mentioned, he cleaned out the storage room. So I already started moving a lot of the chairs in there, the table chairs. A lot of the big comfy chairs, I have to figure out either we're going to turn them around or move them down to the Cooper room. I haven't figured that out yet. But when we do, I'll let you guys know and ask for help because I'll need it to move it. Also, I took away the TV, the Xbox, so that the kids can't hang out there. And like I said, we're going to move the computers. And that's about it. And then in the next phase, when we do allow browsing, we'll do it by appointment only. For the computers, and we'll allow patrons in, but for a limited amount of time, probably only 30 minutes. I was thinking one way of what some other libraries are doing to let patrons know that the 30 minutes are over. Are they getting the little buzzers that you get when you go to a restaurant, and then giving them to the patron, and then when 30 minutes are up, we can buzz them and let them know that the 30 minutes are up. So that's one idea. We're not sure if we're going to do it yet. They're not that expensive. You can get them on Amazon for about $150. So it's not too bad. Let's see what else is there. So I shared my plan with Scott Wadzinski and Nina, and they both thought it was okay, and then it worked with the town's new plan that they're working on for reopening. They just said as long as it follows the governor's orders that they're okay with it, and they give the okay. So, and then the final thing is that we would change we'll actually keep our hours the same and close at 7 when we would have normally closed at 9, but that might change in the future as well. Okay. Any questions?
Yes.
Yes.
It says, okay, so right up at the top, it says, public's allowed in for computer access by appointment and circ desk help only. They will not be allowed to browse the shelves as per the governor's order, right?
Right.
Okay, and so that would include teenagers sitting over in the YA. They couldn't go over there either, right?
Right. I'm removing the chairs, so they won't have a place to sit.
But they could walk in there, but they're not supposed to. So I'm just asking. They adults can't browse the shelves. Nobody can go upstairs, and teenagers can't go over in their area because you can't browse the shelves.
Right. So for right now, in this next phase, they would only be allowed to come in by appointment for computers. The doors will be locked, so you have to come make an appointment, and then we'll come and let you in.
But Dave, there's computers over in the teen area, and there, so
right.
Okay.
So that's part of the spreading it out.
All right. So how many computers total will there be?
7 out of the 11 that we have now.
Okay, so 7 people can be in there on a computer every half hour, right?
We'd probably limit it to less than that to try to keep, but yeah, up to 7.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So that brings.
I don't think there'll be 7. There's not usually 7 people using the computer at the same time before COVID. So
Yeah. Well,
And when
maybe in the first week.
yeah,
When we did the walkthrough, we talked about where to spread the computers just to keep people as distanced as possible. So 6 feet or more where possible. So I think we've got like 3 in the YA area once we remove the TV, a couple around each of those poles, and a couple in the comfy chair area, like that side of the building. I think there was 2 there, just to keep them. So if per chance, like there is a couple patrons overlapping, they'll be very distanced.
So only one person at a computer at a time. So it's not like a couple can come in and sit down.
right.
Okay. So with the max of 7 people coming in at one time, that's a maximum. Why does it say only 30 patrons will be allowed in the building at one time?
Because that's a leftover from the last protocol, and I forgot to mention that I deleted that.
Okay, so it's
yeah,
changed. All right.
just ignore that.
It made no. You were confusing me really bad.
Sorry. Yeah, just ignore that part.
Okay, all right. And you're not taking temperatures. You're just asking for
No.
attestation.
Affidavit.
Yeah, Scott said that that's not really useful. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. By the time person has a fever anyway, they already probably have something.
I think as you're posting things on the website, you should say, like, remind people that if they have a fever or symptoms or
Right.
have been exposed to someone, that we kindly ask they don't come to the library.
Right.
Can help you with that wording.
Okay.
All right.
So if they're only allowed access to the computers, could I suggest we put like, some kind of a, like a barricade of some sort over by the stacks so that so it's easier to control them, right?
Yeah, we have a stanchion, so I'm planning to put that up.
Okay.
Yeah.
And also I was going to suggest that when you set up the appointments, you stagger them so that they're not all starting at, on the hour, start them every 15 minutes or whatever, right? And
Right.
try and stagger them.
Yeah.
So that they're not people coming in at the same time or start to run them, 6 computers, have it every 10 minutes, you can have someone come in, right? So you'll be staggering people.
Is it still curbside? Or are you going to let people come in and pick up their books now?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the last part?
Is it still curbside, or are you going to let people come up to the desk and pick up books?
So it's still curbside. We're not going I spoke to the staff about letting people come up to the cert desk, and they were not a fan of it. They just feel like it would be a slippery slope. So we're just doing curbside and allowing people in to use the computers.
Okay. Okie doke.
Sam, do we have the laptops? Any of the laptops available for people? Could they come and get a laptop and sit outside?
We do have some laptops, and I can I'll have to update them. They haven't been updated in a while, but yeah, I can get them a few of them prepared. I think we have 3 or 4.
Because that might be a good idea too, to allow people to take a laptop and sit out on the bench, right? Because then people that want to use them and aren't comfortable coming into the building could still use a computer.
Yeah.
So the staff has to, excuse me, I'm sorry, I'm monopolizing this, I shouldn't. But you said the staff must maintain a daily cleaning log.
Mm-hmm.
Who's that delegated to, or is it everybody has to have a piece of it and fill in something, or how do you?
Yeah, everybody has a piece of it and has to fill it out.
Okay. All right, they're all good with that?
It's a order from the fire chief that they have to be good with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you want to open, they got to do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Sam, can you remind me how this fits in with how I know you've been in touch with the other librarian, like directors from the other libraries. So can you remind me how that fits in with what the other libraries are doing?
Sure. So like I said, Groton's opening up on Monday for computers only. Some libraries, they're just still doing curbside for the majority of July. Some of them are planning to open in August for curbside. Some of them, it varies, but we're probably one of the few that are actually open for curbside right now. And when we open for computer access, we'll also be one of the few that are doing it. they're all starting to do it at the same time. Not at the same time, but they're all starting to do it. But it's not that everyone has. It's varied. If I when I put out something on the director's listserv, I get a whole bunch of different answers. A lot of them don't want to do anything until they can open for everyone. They feel like that's offering the best service, so they're holding off on opening. Some of them have towns and selectmen and town administrators that are saying you have to open right now. You have to do something, and some of them are just somewhere in the middle. It's all over the place.
Yeah.
But Groton's opening up Monday. I think Westford has been doing curbside. Chelmsford's doing curbside. I think Chelmsford said they're going to open around the same time that we said we're going to open for computer access. I'm not sure about Westford yet. I forget. But all of the neighboring libraries are pretty much doing it around the same time that we are.
Great. And I do think the appointments will help spread out any high demand for computer use that you might get if you're one of the first to open. And it is possible it's a public library and need access, and the only two that are open are Groton and Littleton. You guys might have more people right away.
Yeah, so when we discuss it, we all sort of get into groups of libraries that are neighboring each other. So that's how we've been doing it. So like I've been talking to Vanessa over at Groton, Ellen at Westford, and Becky at Chelmsford. And so we've all been kind of working together. And then other groups, they sort of work based on their geographic location.
I think that makes a lot of sense, and I'm actually glad you're working together to coordinate plans. So that's great.
I think having the laptops available can also help alleviate some of that, right? Because I can imagine people that would want to use the laptop and be more comfortable sitting outside. And I think you could limit it to like 2 laptops at a time. You could have if you have 4 laptops, limit it to 2 at a time, because I think you have 2 people on the 2 benches separated by 6 feet. When they come in, you could have you could sterilize those and have 2 more ready to go, right? So I think having 2 laptops that you could check out is a good thing. And it doesn't have to be on the same schedule as the opening for allowing people in for computer access, right? You can do that independently, because that's still effectively a curbside thing, right?
Right.
So.
Okay.
Do we, I know you said July 27th for this. Do we have an idea of when a full reopening where people are in the building?
So phase 4 is when they allow browsing, so I'm not sure when phase 4 is going to be. I know phase 3 for the state starts on Monday, and the governor said that phase 3 would be a lot longer than all the other phases. So we probably wouldn't be able to open for browsing for a while. I'm not sure when it's exactly.
So well, more of the question was leading to, are we going to be discussing this? Are we planning on discussing the allowing people into the building in our August meeting, or is it a September meeting type frame?
I would guess more September.
Okay.
A month of computer by appointment, and then potentially opening in September.
Right.
Well, yeah. It's the question of how long we need, how much input and review we need, right? Because if he's going to be opening right around Labor Day, then that's pretty tight for us to review in September. That was more, it was a logistics question more than a asking you for a plan question, right?
Yeah, I don't see it happening anytime soon. Not in August anyway. So maybe September or October.
Okay. Well, I would guess if the schools are back in session, then we're probably back in session too. It's hard to say that there's going to be 600 kids or 300 kids in a school building, whatever, but we can't allow anyone in the library. So
Do we know if the school's going to reopen in the fall?
They have the school board meeting right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions?
No.
Okay. So my next questions fall into the next category, which was hours of operation. So one of the things I was talking to Sam briefly about today was whether or not we should make our opening time consistent across every day. And just so I know people are confused at what time the library opens now, having talked to someone, right, Katrina?
Yeah.
But since we've effectively cut the number of hours the library is open by 6 by closing at 7, and I'm not suggesting we stay open later. My question was, do we want to try and move those hours to opening up at 10 every day? So we would consistently open at 10, and we close at 4 on 3 days, and we close at 7 on 3 days, and just plan on keeping those hours for the foreseeable future, right? Potentially until the new library is open even, right?
So budget-wise, that's pretty much the same as what we've always, the number of hours is pretty much the same number of hours we've always had. So it wouldn't affect the budget. The problem would be staffing. A lot of the staff have other jobs, and so we'd have to juggle people around to figure out, how we can staff those earlier hours. I've spoke with Andy, and because she and Susan sort of make the schedule for the most part, and she said that she's going to look at it. She thinks it's possible, but she needs the weekend to kind of think about it, and she was already looking at it today.
I'm not hearing any of this.
Dave, can you hear me?
It's frozen.
Yeah, you froze. Okay, you're back.
Yeah, I was froze. I didn't hear anything you said.
Okay, so we're thinking about opening at 10 a.m. every day. That the number of hours would be the same number of hours that we've always had, so it doesn't affect the budget. And right now, the only issue is how we would staff it,
Right.
because some of the staff have other jobs that they're already committed to. So
Yeah, I heard that part.
Right,
It was-
so
it was-
changing
it was
hours would
excellent.
be juggling people around. But
Right.
we think we can do it, but we just have to review it. We sort of just found out about it today, so we're going to look at it over the weekend and figure out if it's possible.
Do we need to worry about losing any hours and not being able to get them back?
You mean for staff losing hours?
Well, it used to be sometimes when a librarian loses hours, sometimes, or when you're told to cut hours back, sometimes you can't. Sometimes it's bad to lose those hours. So our hours are staying about the same.
Yeah, so the hours are exactly the same, I think.
Exactly the
Maybe
same.
like an hour more, but it's basically the same amount that we've always had.
Okay. Right.
It's just figuring out how to rearrange those hours for the staff that wouldn't have normally worked during that time.
Right.
So-
Okay.
So our open hours are less currently than they were before COVID, but our staff hours per week are roughly the same.
Yeah.
So the question is, can we shift some of those staff hours, the time of those staff hours to cover different opening hours?
Good luck. Good luck, Sam. Good luck.
Thank you.
But the other thing is, at least for the short term, you probably don't need as many staff per time. You don't need to make sure that there's 2 or 3 people, as many people at the desk at the same time, potentially, right? Because there's no one in the building, right?
Yeah, there's no one in the building, but we have more people coming to the doors.
Yeah.
So it's still a lot of people running down to the front door. Yeah.
They're getting their exercise.
They're definitely getting their exercise.
Yeah, it's the time for each transaction. Before you check out a book and the person would be on their way, now you're running down, opening the door, passing out the book, running back up the stairs. Do you know what I mean? It's not a 30-second transaction, it's a 3-minute transaction.
The other thing is the new readers advisory forms are also taking up a lot of time. Now, we get an email and we have to take the time to think about what books to get, what books are good, and go pick them out. Do we have them? That sort of thing. So.
And Diane took on a lot of the paperwork stuff that the kids themselves used to fill out for the raffle tickets and whatnot for summer reading. So I think
Yeah.
time intensive as well.
Do we have to buy cushions for the staff for these steps handling those too?
Andy wants to make a slide. He wants to build a slide going down to the door.
Eric's
I could
used
see
the
her doing
railing.
that.
I don't see why Andy can't.
I was more worried about them coming back up the steps.
I said one of those things in the airports where, like a moving sidewalk,
Yeah,
Up
she
and
also
down.
asked me for an escalator today.
escalator. Okay.
Yeah.
That might have changed the new building plan, so let's not bring that
Yeah,
up.
I told her it's too late. She can't have an escalator.
Okay.
So for the short term, that sounds great since a lot of people are at home. Do people use the library in the evenings from 7 to 9, or is that a pretty quiet time?
No, pretty much the only reason we've stayed open from 8 to 9 is because of the meeting rooms. With the new
Okay.
library, that'll be different. Access to the meeting rooms will be a lot easier after hours.
Okay.
So that's fine. And since people aren't using the meeting rooms now, it doesn't really matter either.
Right.
We don't anticipate people will be using the meeting rooms for a long time.
Right.
So it might be until the new library comes that it works.
Okay.
And then people do show up in the morning on Tuesdays and Thursdays before 1 anyway. So I think people will be like the idea of coming in at 10. It's really just a staffing issue right now is figuring out how it's going to work with staffing those hours.
Long term, when we move into the new library, I don't think the 9 o'clock is an important time, but it might be nice to extend it till 8. So we might ask for more hours from the town or try to figure out how to juggle hours when we go into the new library. But I think for the foreseeable future, meaning probably at least through this calendar year, I think 7 o'clock is a reasonable time. We can revisit it, in December and say, based on what the opening plan is, to say, do we need to stay open later for things or not? But I think 7 will cover us for the next 6 months. Do you agree with that, Sam?
I do.
So.
And I know the staff do. They all like that we're closing at 7. And then I know Diane and Jen, they stay longer. They stay until 9, but that's because they're filming their story times to post on Facebook or they're working on stuff. So they like the quiet time. And they're there together, so there's no security issues or, neither one of them are alone.
Okay. Any questions? Any more questions on the hour of operation?
When do you want to start this, if it is possible?
I would say if you can start it as soon as you can figure it out and announce it. I think it's fine. If you want to start at the same time if you started on the 27th or the 20th or 27th, I think it's great.
Okay.
Just whenever you're ready to announce it. So.
Okay.
Policy review. This was one of my things. Basically, we started it last year a little bit, or the year before, and breaking up the policy doc that's online into a bunch of little docs and trying to keep them more up to date, because we haven't done a really good job of keeping our policies current. So I don't know that we have to, I don't think we need to start that tonight, but I think we should figure out what the sections are and what needs to be updated going forward, and kind of like assign someone to say, next month I'm going to read the art gallery policy and come back with any edits, and then we can kind of approve the policies and have a more cohesive, smaller set of policies going forward than what we currently have, because they seem to have aged over time. So I will try to go through them for the next meeting and break them up into like chapters, and then we can figure out how we want to tackle them over the course of the year, and have people sign up for what they're interested in reviewing, with the goal being by this time, by May of next year, we've tried to tackle all of the policies that that need to be updated. So that was what the policy stuff was. So I will try and break it up and send out what the titles are, and we can try and figure out at our next meeting how to divvy up the work and when. So, does that sound like a reasonable plan?
Yes.
Does everybody have a copy of the policies? Policy?
I believe it's all online. I'm hoping the latest is online, because if not, I'm not sure where to find it. So
Yeah, it's all online under I think it's About Us and then Policies.
Okay, yeah, that's
The
what it
website.
is.
So groundbreaking. So we're having the groundbreaking ceremony next Thursday at 4 p.m. We kind of need to decide a program for it, like who all wants to speak, who's going to be there. Cindy Napoli has been working with me on helping organize this. Highway Department is going to drop off a load of sand and 10 shovels for us for groundbreaking. I'm meeting with Al, the construction manager, on Monday to figure out where he would like the sand for the groundbreaking. We need to know who wants to speak or who's going to speak at groundbreaking. I assume that Sam should say a few words, and a trustee should. If anyone wants to speak, feel free to step up.
Town manager?
I do not know if Nina wants to speak. I will ask her. I know Commodore Builders would like to speak. And you said, Sam said someone from MBLC would like to speak.
Yeah, one of the
I believe Jamie Eldridge is going to be there. And I think he wants to speak, but I'm not 100% positive on that yet. I'm trying to work those details out. So we basically need to come up with a program. And another thing we need to figure out is, are we setting up chairs and how many? Because we don't really want people to linger, but if we set up chairs, then they'll be more likely to be spaced out, but it's more work. And if seniors show up, they'd also probably appreciate having a chair and not having to stand. So there was talk of setting up maybe 20 chairs. I don't know what people think about any of this. And like I said, I don't know where yet. I tried to stop by the construction site to talk to Al today, but he was not on the site when I was there. So, and he's not there tomorrow because of the holiday. So we're going to meet on Monday. So I apologize for not having more information before this meeting, but circumstances worked against me. So do people have any comments on any of the groundbreaking stuff? Oh, and another important question. Commodore Builder has asked, has offered to provide us hard hats for the ceremony. So should I tell them yes? And how many do we request?
You're going to have a hat and a mask on.
And a shovel. And a shovel.
And a shovel. We're going to look totally like ourselves.
Yes. And we've told the Independent, so the Independent wrote an article.
It's in the paper.
It's in the paper.
Yes.
It's right next to me.
And hopefully they will show up, but I don't have any idea if they will or not, or if we're just supposed to take pictures to send to them. So we should probably have someone taking pictures too, just in case.
I don't want to wear a hard hat if I don't have to. Not in July.
It's not really required. We're not going to be anywhere where a hard hat is required. Hold on.
Unless the trees are falling.
We won't be down in the trees. We'll be up in the parking lot.
Right.
Yeah. So I believe most likely we'll be at the end of the construction fence by the trailer by the ball fields. So that if I was to place my bets, that's where they'll dump the sand and where the groundbreaking will be. So just about as far from the library as you could get in that parking lot.
Where are we parking cars?
That's still being worked out too. So I have a designated parking spot at the library, so I'm set.
No, you don't. You're going to be shuttling everyone.
And there was talk of asking the town employees to make sure their cars were out of the way in time for us to set up. So Cindy was going to work on that with Nina.
So everyone who's able should park at the alumni field, Russell Street parking lots, and walk up.
Or they could probably park at the church. I believe
Or
the
the church.
construction people have permission to park at the church. So we can ask. Actually, Sam, do you have a contact for the church? Can we ask them if we can use their parking lot for that? Or I don't know if I still have the.
I think it's Steve Moore who has it. I can ask Steve
Okay.
for it.
I can do that. I'll ask so that we could, at least some of us can park down there and leave room for others.
It would just be good to leave room for people to space out in the parking lot.
Is
Yep.
someone from that speaking list going to like MC, or do we just?
So Cindy has offered to MC, or we could pick our own MC if we don't.
Who offered to do that?
Cindy
Cindy,
Napoli
okay.
said she would MC. She
That's
doesn't
nice.
need to. She doesn't need to speak, but she said she would be the MC. So
How about Arciero? Is he coming?
I have not heard anything from him. I emailed him, but I have not heard anything back. I believe LCTV is going to be there to tape it, but I have to confirm that. They were on the list, and they were the ones that were pushing for a lot of this, so I think it will be taped, but I'm not 100% positive. I will confirm that on Monday.
Okay. So for speakers, you have Eldridge, somebody from Commodore, somebody from MBLC, and a trustee.
And Sam.
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 Sam doesn't get off the hook.
No,
Is that good enough?
that ain't too bad. I mean, if everybody
Yeah, I
takes a
think that's-
minute,
You don't want much more than that.
no, if
Not to-
everybody
not to
takes
be
a couple
short.
minutes to speak, yeah, that's fine. Besides, I mean,
And
how
the
much-
forecast, right now, the forecast looks like it's going to be 94, so we don't want it, we want it to be as brief as,
Oh, black masks are going to be awesome.
yeah.
Sam, I want lemonade.
Okay. I'll bring you lemonade. I'll make a
Yeah,
lemonade.
I don't. Not a great idea.
All right, ice water?
Sure.
Okay, so we think, 20 chairs and
Yeah, I think
Still-
definitely to have chairs for seniors who might attend, who would need, especially if it's going to be that hot, they would definitely need a place to sit, but not to try and have chairs for everybody who's attending.
okay. And we can just steal the chairs out of the Cooper room, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I will probably be setting that up sometime Thursday afternoon. So if anyone else is available, wants to come help, I'd appreciate it. I'll let people know more when exactly the plan is for setting things up. Does anyone want to volunteer to speak, or is everyone going to step back on this one too?
Who would you like to speak, Mark? You can designate someone.
Can we
Would you like
nominate
to speak?
Susan?
Susan, unfortunately, will not be able to attend. She's very sad about this, but she's having foot surgery on Monday and is going to be in a cast for a while and then a boot through sometime in August. So she's very sad that she couldn't attend. So
I would be happy to say a few words if no one else wants to. I'm not dying to speak, but I will volunteer if that would be something that people would
That sounds
want me
fabulous.
to do.
Thank you.
I'm fine with that.
But
Unless you want to speak, Katrina.
As the chair, Mark, you should maybe, I don't know if y'all want to take if you're the chair, so if you want to, and
No.
you've been working more on this than anybody else, so if you want to do that.
You and I will arm wrestle over it and
Okay.
you'll probably win. I'm tired.
But I mean, I think you're right. I think someone from the trustees needs to say something, and so I think.
So I don't, well, to be honest, I don't mind speaking, but I don't really want to write a speech. So.
Yeah.
Speech writing we can all help with.
Well, I was going to say I'm the writer, so I can write something.
I think there was a good collaborative speech for town meeting.
There was.
That could be sorted out.
So yeah, so I don't mind speaking. If you want to speak, Chris, I'm fine with that, but I don't really want to write a speech. So, and I don't think these have to be, I think 5 minutes is
Oh, yeah.
plenty of
I was
time.
thinking, less than that. But yeah,
Yeah.
we don't have to convince anybody.
Yeah. I think Sam needs to talk for about 15 minutes, but the rest of us can go really short.
Sure.
Okay. Okay. So you and I will work it out, Chris.
All right.
So-
Sounds good.
Be nice to see who draws the straw.
Anyone have any questions or comments on the groundbreaking?
Are we going to close the library for that time so that the staff
Yes.
can?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Is there a reason why we didn't do it in the morning like all the rest of the police station and fire station and all that? Is there a reason we didn't do that?
No, we just picked a time. So
All right. Well, it
we
is
tried.
what it is.
I tried to pick a time where where it would be more likely that people were not working or able to get off work to come.
Okay.
I thought if we picked 10 a.m., people might be working, right? So 4 o'clock seemed like a reasonable time. So you can blame me.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm tired.
Yep. Okay. So I will send out mail with whatever I find out about the groundbreaking and when we're going to start set up, probably late Monday or early Tuesday. So, and we'll figure out how to do the setup.
All right. So this thing runs from 3:30 to 5. So you're going to want help setting up before 3:30. Is that correct?
The groundbreaking is at 4, so I figured probably showing up around 3 to set things up.
Okay.
Or you show up in the morning and set things up and then go back home. So it's one of those.
What makes you think I got the whole day off? Uh-oh. You heard it, Katrina. You were right. Yeah. Yeah, I heard it too. All right.
Okay. Anything else on groundbreaking?
No.
Can we
Okay,
put a table for pledge drive in case anyone wants to, is so moved by Chris's or Mark's speech that they want to pledge?
Yes.
Putting on my
And-
fundraising hat.
Good idea.
Yeah, and so Sarah was mentioning potentially having the big check there. And we
So
do have the thermometer is in front of my garage now, so we will move that
I'm
back to the
froze up
library before that.
again.
Uh-oh.
So, are you back, Dave?
He's frozen.
You back, Dave?
Yep. Yep, I'm
So-
back.
So we have a very large check that we could write the number we have raised for fundraising on if we went that there. We also, the thermometer that was out in front of the library is at my house, and in a little less warped state than it was before, and will be updated with a new fundraising total, which is roughly $850,000 now, give or take a few, and we will have that on the site as well. So if people have other things that they think we need to have, just email me, and then, by Tuesday so we can figure out how we're going to set them up. Any other questions on the groundbreaking?
I don't suppose they're chrome shovels, are they?
I have no idea. I think highways offered to drop some off. Commodore's offered to drop some off. So,
See what comes up. All right.
and I believe we're going to be shoveling sand and not dirt. So,
Nice and easy. All right.
yeah,
In the wrong place
in the wrong place.
with hard hats.
So if we don't want hard hats, I'll tell them no. So I'm fine either way. So the consensus is no hard hats?
Yes. No hard hats.
No.
And why not put the pile of sand right in front of where the main door is going to be?
Well, you can't get very close with the construction. I don't know where we can put it up yet, based on where the construction fence is. I assume we'll have to be outside of the construction fence. So, and if we dump it where the main door to the construction fence is, they would have to move it right away because you'd be blocking the driveway, the other entrance to the driveway. So.
That's up to you.
So, I will figure it out based on where the construction manager says we can dump it. So, okay,
To keep shoveling till it's gone.
yeah. Okay, director's contract.
So my contract expired on the 30th. It's so you guys need to vote whether or not you want to extend it for another 3 years. If you want to get me out of the speech, that's a good idea too. And you guys also would have to vote on amending the contract to include step increases for a grade 12, step 5, 6, and 7.
Are those, did you highlight those in the contract, or they're just?
That's an amendment that's made every year based on the cost of living increases and the step increases. So every year since I've been there, they've changed it.
That was it.
Okay,
Is that just under number 10 compensation, or is that somewhere else?
I think it's under compensation. I don't know what the exact numbers for grade 12, step 5, 6, and 7 are, but that would be what I would go to next year as step 5. And then the next year would be step 6. And then the third year would be step 7.
so it says you're on step 5 as of July 2018.
Yeah,
And
that
step
was
6.
based on the other. So we used to have only 8 steps, and then they changed it to 10 steps. And when they changed,
Goes up again.
so they used to have, when I first started, they used to have 8 steps. But then they changed it to a 10-step system, and I actually went backwards from where I was in steps based on compensation. I still got a pay increase, but I went back in steps. So anyway, right now, this fiscal year 21, I would be a grade step 5, grade 12, step 5.
Okay,
Well, I missed all that because I froze, but all of this number 10 it goes all the way back to 2017. Why is that in the contract?
because that's the contract that just expired.
Right.
Oh, all right.
So Sam, can we vote to pay you starting on whatever's, you said you're on step 5 now, right?
Yeah, fiscal year 21 would be grade 12, step 5.
So can we just say that we're going to start you at that grade at step 5 and have you, advance a step per year and not say what the steps are and the rate is? So if the town bylaw changes, that we don't have to do, so that your
Sure.
contract is still valid. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Do it that
I think
way?
that's okay. I think that's fine. That's usually when every year we've made an amendment, you voted on an amendment. It's been the actual number amount, but because of COVID, nobody gave me that amendment. They sort of said just go to the trustees and ask them to do this. So right now, so yeah, it would be you can say grade 12, step 5, and then increase a step every year based on my review. That's how it's supposed to be. It's based on the review, whether or not you get an increase.
Okay. So that's the one section that needs to change. And is there anything else that needed to change?
Yeah, extending it until 2023, June 30th, 2023.
Okay.
Okay.
So does anyone have any comments on this before I ask
No,
for a motion?
I think it's fine. Can you word the motion?
So I would say, go ahead.
Say what I wrote. Let me tell you what I wrote.
Yeah.
So I wrote, move that the trustees vote to start Sam Alvarez at grade 12, step 5, and to advance a step per year based on Sam's review, and to extend the contract to June 30th, 2023.
That works.
So does there need to be a beginning date in there? Grade 12, step 5 on such and such
July
a date?
1st, 2020.
July 1st, 2020.
July 1st, 2020. Okay.
We're paying you for these past 2 days?
Yes.
You wanna-
The contract says it automatically extends a year if no one does anything about it.
Okay.
I could have waited.
Okay. So I like that motion, Chris. Did anyone have any other comments or discussion?
I'll second it.
Did I move that?
Yeah, you did. You read it, you moved it.
Okay. Any further discussion? If not, we can go to a vote.
David Still votes yes.
Chris
Mira
Nelson
Gill votes yes.
Chris votes yes.
Katrina votes yes.
Mark votes yes. So how do we actually execute this now, Sam? Do you have to print it out and we have to come in and sign it?
Yeah.
Or do we have to DocuSign this or?
Yeah, we could probably do a DocuSign. I'll have to contact Ann Esman, and Cheryl has to verify it.
Do
Funds. And
do
so
all
then-
do all trustees have to sign it, or just?
yeah, all the
gotta sign it?
trustees. Cheryl has to sign it, and I think Nina might have to sign it too.
Okay.
Okay. So
Right.
can you verify that whether it has to be signed in, because this one's actually signed by all of us in person. I don't know if a DocuSign will work or, just verify how it's going to happen and let us know
Sure.
and send it around. If we have to drop by the library to sign it, it's not like you're not open for curbside anyway. So
Yeah.
bring your contract and a pen and cookies and then we'll sign it.
Okay.
We'll just sign it before the groundbreaking, and that will solidify you have to do a speech.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Do you want help with your speech, Sam? I heard there's others that were willing to write speeches, so.
Sam's
Sure,
a
but-
great writer.
No.
Okay. Okay, so we're stuck with Sam for 3 more years.
Yay.
Okay, any other business? Hearing none, I'll have one. Do we still want to meet on August 6th, or we think we can skip the month? I'm not sure we can skip it with the COVID, but I can, in the opening with the computers, but I can go either way if people think we need to meet or don't need to meet. We usually don't meet for one of the 2 months over the summer, but this is not a normal summer.
I feel
No,
like
it's-
we met for an hour and a half tonight. I feel like we probably need to meet in August at some, even if we say it's going to be a short meeting, I think we should meet, my opinion.
Okay,
Can we just put COVID on the agenda for that day, though?
we can try and keep it as short as
Keep it
sweet.
brief.
Yeah, I mean, you were talking about bringing stuff back for policy. Can that wait till September?
Absolutely.
And just make it a really short August meeting?
Yeah, sure. Just sort of update on reopening and discuss where we're at in that process.
Yep, we can do that. Okay,
Okay.
so we'll have a short meeting on the 6th. It's possible we could potentially meet in person as well, because I know the selectmen were actually meeting in person on their meeting on Monday. So we could
Yeah.
potentially even get the selectmen's room or do something if we want to do that. So even if we'll have to figure out what the logistics are. So, okay. So if there's nothing else,
I
You're
move
up,
to
David.
adjourn.
yeah,
I second.
okay.
Yeah, I third it.
Okay. You have
I
to
vote yes. I vote yes.
I vote
Everybody
yes.
votes yes. I vote yes.
I vote yes,
Okay,
too.
I vote yes. We will see everyone at the groundbreaking next Thursday, and I'll send out updates. So Thank you, and our next meeting is August 6th.
Very good.
Great.